Today we are making Lord Woolton pie, that typical classic recipe that everybody talks about when they mention wartime cooking. Hi everyone, welcome back to WWII Cottage and welcome back to Wales. It's lovely to have you here. Hope you're all doing well and I hope you're all having a good week. Well, I'm having a busy day in the kitchen today, getting a load of recipes ready for you. Today we are making Lord Woolton pie, that typical classic recipe that everybody talks about when they mention wartime cooking. Woolton pie, Lord Woolton was part of the Ministry of Food and he tried to help come up with recipes that were really nutritious, full of vegetables, and really helped save the wartime people, really, because all this healthy vegetables, all this healthy food went towards really healthy people who could fight on the home front and fight on the front line. So that's what we're focusing on today is Lord Woolton pie. It is from my We'll Eat Again recipe book. And there's the recipe there, Woolton pie. I have made it before and I've done a video on it and I'll pop it in the I button for you in case you want to compare the two recipes. Because I think I made it last time with pastry made with egg. Today I'm making the pastry without eggs and I am going to show you that. But we're going to do the vegetable part of it now because I want to get the vegetables cooking in the oven, in the stove, once my scones are finished because I've been making scones. And I want to get everything cooking and then I can do the pastry. My hair's gone all weird today. Sorry. And then I can do the pastry and do that. That'll be in the fridge waiting while the vegetables cook. So I'm just waiting for my scones to finish cooking. I've also made soup today and I'm also making condensed milk cake today. So they're going to be recipes coming up in future videos. So it's going to take an hour to cook. It's 4 helpings and it's loaded with vegetables. So turn the camera down and we'll do it together. Right, so I'm using this pie plate here. This is a Typhoon one I've had for donkey's years. I must have had this for 20 years. It's cracked and all sorts, but it's a good sized pie dish for 2. So I'm going to do the pie dish for 4 so that you can follow along with me. Now, well, I'm going to fill basically this dish with vegetables as much as I can till it's sort of this height, sort of an inch above the pie plate. And then what's going to happen then, as it cooks down, it's going to sink and I'll know I'll have enough vegetables then. And I'm just going to put the pie crust on the top, not on the bottom. So what we're going to do is I'm going to chop my vegetables, which I just get together. Right, okay, excuse my eyes, I've just been chopping onions. So what I've done is I've chopped the onion and the celery and I popped it in here. I'm just using an old head of celery that needs using up. It's seen better days. Is a bit mouldy on the top, but you know, if you cut the top off, the bottom's absolutely fine. So that is going to go on the stove with a bit of butter, just a little bit, not a lot. And I'm just going to put that on the stove and saute the onions and get them lightly browned while we chop the rest of the vegetables. Right, so when I'm making Woolton pie, I like to do everything in flat, sort of a disc shape. So I'll show you what I mean with my leeks. I'm not going to saute these first because I want it all to cook together and I want it to add some good flavour to the pie. Now it says a pound of vegetables, so I'm going to top load mine with potatoes. I use the whole of my leek. I don't throw anything away. I use the green bits for soup, the bit on the top. I have resprouted the roots in the past, but these are shop bought ones and they don't tend to work as well. Get rid of that rough bit. Now this is a great pie for using things up that need to be used basically, that are just sat in your fridge. So there you go, cut them into discs like that. I'm going to pop that over to one side for a minute so we can do the rest. I've got carrots that need using. I'm not going to peel them. I don't like peeling things. And I'm going to cut them into thinnish rounds like that. See? And then they're going to go in the pie dish. And it just makes for a, rather than everything mushing up, It makes for a good texture in your pie. So I'm going to carry on chopping these. I'm probably going to use 2 big carrots. Just cut this bit off because it's a bit tough. But I don't like cutting the skins off. I think you get a lot of nutrients that you cut away when you take the skins off. And these are organic. Right, there's my carrots. And the potatoes, what I'll do is I'll cut them into quarters. And I'll slice them as well. Now, as I said in my last video, if you want things to cook quicker, slice them thinner. So I'm roughly going for that kind of thickness. And then it won't take hours to cook. Now I think I'm going to do 2 potatoes in this because we're going to have it with roast potatoes. Now you're encouraged to eat a lot of potatoes during the war, as much as you could. That's why there was so many recipes for potato scones, potato pastry, potato biscuits, potato cakes, everything with a potato. Now I've got this old bit of cabbage that needs using as well. So we're going to slice that in. You can see I don't like to waste anything. Knife's a bit blunt, I think. Get yourself a good strong knife. I think that's a bit tough, that bit. That's had it. Right, and I've got a few mushrooms that I can use as well. Bit of pepper. And what does the recipe say? Oh, it says 1 ounce of rolled oats. Okay. So that's roughly a tablespoon, I think. There's my oats. So I'm just waiting for my vegetables to cook. And we'll add that into this and pop it into the oven. Right, so I've started to cook my onions and they've gone translucent. So I'm just going to pour this in here and give it a mix in as well. And then we're going to add our stock. Now, I think the porridge thickens the sauce. That's my guess. Mix all that in. You don't necessarily have to use a pie plate if you haven't got one, as you can see. I'm not using a pie plate. Got a bit of Marmite in it. Milk, rosemary and some tarragon in this, and I put sage in and pepper in with the vegetables. You can pretty much with Woolton pie do what you want, basically. Whatever vegetables you've got to hand, it just says a pound of vegetables. Right, you just want to put some kitchen foil on the top, and I'm going to put that in my stove for about an hour. You could boil them in a pan, but I don't like doing that because I think you lose a lot of the vegetable nutrients into the water. So I like to start the cooking process in my oven first, and then do the pastry on the top when it's about 20 minutes away from being finished. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it in the oven for an hour, and then we'll come back and do the pastry. I usually use eggs in my short crust pastry, but in keeping with the war ration, I haven't made pastry for a while. I don't think I've made pastry this year. So in keeping with my war rations, because eggs were quite limited, I'm going to make it without an egg. So I've already put it through my food processor, and basically the pastry is 8 ounces of flour and 3 ounces of butter. I make my own homemade butter, so I've always got a supply of butter. And as you can see, it's in a nice flaky crumb. Now all I've got left to do to that is to add some water and bind it together. You use cold water because pastry likes to be kept cold and it doesn't like to be overworked. Because if you overwork, it starts to go tough. So the best thing to do really is to get a nice light crumb like this. It's a lovely crumb, it'll make a lovely crumble. And put your water in and just sort of bind it together, and then pop it in the fridge inside a plastic bag or some cellophane wrap. I also like to pop it in a bowl with a plate on the top because I don't like using cling film and I don't like using plastic bags. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to add the water. I was going to show you the rest of the recipe, but the Woolton pie recipe is going to take a while. You don't need me to teach you how to make pastry. So I'm going to make it without you. So we'll just turn the camera down. Right, so this is the recipe book I'm following. As I say, we'll eat again. There's my recipe for Woolton pie. I got this book for about £3 on eBay. I don't know what price they are at the moment. All the wartime books have gone up massively in price. So I'm not going to say how much they are now, but for me, when I bought it, it was about £3. But that was the dog trying to come in then. Right, we're just going to add a bit of water. You just want enough water just to hold the mixture together. I want to start off with a little bit and just try and get that to clump up a bit. And that'll give you an idea roughly of how much you're going to want. You don't want to add too much because then you end up with a really watery pastry and that's horrible. But you want to try and keep the crumb structure of the pastry. And that makes a really nice light pastry, even on a Woolton pie. It's great for fruit cakes. Gordon used to make the most amazing fruit pies. I've got loads of red currants outside, so I'm thinking of making red currant pie filling in the freezer and making some red currant pies. Right, that's doing really well, that. I don't think I need to add any more because it's all pretty much bound together. And then what you want to do is to get your hand in, you want to clump it like that. That's possibly just a little bit too wet, but it'll be fine. Because once it's been in the freezer, that's all I'm going to do. That's all the handling I'm going to do. Once it's been in the freezer, we'll then add a bit of flour to the board and roll it out. So I'm going to put that in a glass dish. So the Woolton pie filling is ready. The pastry is ready and I've checked it all and the fork's going through nicely. I've mixed it up together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that to cool because I don't want to put the pastry on top of hot vegetables because the pastry will just go into a soggy mess. So I'm going to leave it for half an hour, let it cool down. I'm going to add a bit of corn flour as well, cornstarch, and I'm just going to mix that in with the mixture so that it thickens up slightly. And then once the pastry goes on the top, it'll be ready to go back in the oven. I've already put the potatoes back in the oven and they're going to take about an hour. So hopefully, all being well, that one's a little bit tough, but hopefully all being well, it'll all turn out rather nice. So this should do 4 days, 2 days, 4 meals. So I can have it for leftovers and so can my husband for his lunch. So I've just mixed in 2 dessert spoons of corn flour into some water. So I'm just mixing that in to make sure it's all mixed. And then I'm just going to pour that on the top of my mixture like that. And then I'm just going to mix it in. And what that's going to do is it's going to thicken it and make it into a nice thick sauce. It's already smelling delicious, but I don't want it to be a runny sauce. So as it cools down, that will just help it all to thicken. As you can see, it's already thickened. I mean, this Woolton pie could be made into pasties, so you can take them to work with you. You don't have to make it into a big pie. I have got a recipe on my channel for spicy vegetable pasties, so if you followed that, I'll pop it in the I button. You could make pasties with it for your lunch, and that's a great budget saver. A good budget way of taking a nice filling lunch to work with you. Or you could use the leftovers from this once you've eaten the pastry. So I'm just going to leave that to cool, leave that to one side over the back there. Right, so come back in the polytunnel and I thought that I would show you the, sorry, I'm just trying to set you up. the onion sets and the potatoes that I bought the other day. I got these red Baron, I think they're red Baron, these are the red onions, really like red onions, so I've got some of those. I got 2 packets of those, and I'm going to start them off in seed trays to get them growing in advance. And I also got the stirring onion sets as well, so I'm going to plant those, and I'm going to sow them all in pots. There's already a green shoot coming out there, so they seem to be good onions. These ones I got in my animal feed shop where I get my chicken feed, and these ones I got in Home Bargain. These were about the same price actually, about £1.20, £1.30. There's 50 in there, and I'm not sure how many there is in this one. It doesn't say, but it doesn't look like there's 50 in that one. But they're the onion sets that I bought, and I also bought potatoes. If I can remember where I put them, I'll show you them. Where did I put them? Oh, here they are. With having a bad back, I've not been out much. I've got these King Edward potatoes. I mentioned them the other day when we were looking through my wartime guide, the WWII one, this one. It's still available on eBay. It is about £8 or £9 at the moment, so if you want a copy, do get one. But yeah, I got the King Edwards, and I was looking for the Home Garden. It says that they've been discontinued. Now, I don't know whether that's continued completely or just discontinued in my animal feed shop. So I am going to have a little look on Fothergill's, Dobie's and DT Brown and see if I can get them on there. I also got some Wilger, which are a good sturdy potato. I don't know if they're a wartime variety, but I know that they grow well here in Wales, so it's worth me growing them. So I've only got 2 bags at the moment. These Wilger ones are a second early, and the other ones, the King Edwards, they are main crop. So I wanted to try the second earlies and the main crop and see if there's much of a difference between the two, because a lot of people say if you've got really wet soil, don't plant main crop. And I find that they're sitting in wet soil and they don't seem to like it. So I'm going to try them both and see how we get on. But I do want to try and get those home guard ones. So if I can, I might get some more asparagus while I'm at it, because I am allowing myself to buy things for the vegetable garden, just not flowers this year. Although I did have a sneaky purchase for £1 of a forsythia in flower. So that's going to go in the Victory Garden to try and bring in some bees and some pollinators early to the food. So that's all that's going on in the polytunnel right now. But what we are going to do is we're going to go up and do our banana powder. What I showed you the other day when we were in the polytunnel last, and I was telling you that I had dehydrated my banana peels on top of the wood burning stove on the warming shelf. Now I have ground it down into powder, if I can open it. There you go, can you see that? There you are. It has been ground down into powder in my food processor, and I'm going to go and put that on my roses now. So I thought I'd take you over and show you what we're doing. I'm just using one of these small dessert spoons or soup spoon, whatever it is, not sure. Excuse the light, it's fading at the moment. It's about 3:15, 3:30 in the afternoon. So yeah, we're still sort of not quite light enough yet to not need a light outside, but I couldn't be bothered bringing one. Anyway, we're going to go and do the potassium powder on the roses up on the rose walk, where I've got about 4 or 5 roses, so I can show you that. And I'm going to put it on the fruit as well that's up there. So it's a good spot to go and do that. So that's the next job we're going to do today while we wait for the Woolton pie to cook. So these are the seeds that I did last time we did seeds. And these are spring onions here. Then I've got spinach here. And then on this side, I've got my onion seeds. And you know, I think actually some of the leeks have come through as well. And I'm not sure which is which. So we'll have to see how they grow, and then maybe I can prick them out. But yeah, very happy with that. I've never grown onions from seed before. So I'm happy to see how they do. But they're going to go back in my little propagator behind me. I just wanted to show you how they were doing. I've not grown spring onions before either, so I'm very pleased they've worked. And we've got spinach on the go. Also in this one, we've got spinach, beetroot, melon and chard. The melons haven't come up, I'm not sure if they're going to, but we shall see. But some of the beetroots have gone a bit leggy, so I'm not sure if they're going to do anything. But we've also got spinach and we've also got chard, so I'm quite happy with that. I am going to sow some more beetroot, I think, because I really like beetroot. They're a really good vegetable. But they're going to go back in the propagator as well. I am wondering, my beetroots haven't grown, my parsnips haven't grown yet. So I'm wondering whether to have a go at trying them in one of the sinks they've got outside and see if I can get them to grow. I've also got some polystyrene boxes in here. So I'm wondering whether to give them a try and see if I can do them and get them to grow long roots in the sinks and the polystyrene tub, because I've put glass over the top of that to keep the mice out. Just a thought. Just a thought. Right, we're going to go and do the potassium on the roses and ignore the man at the back and the noise on the camera. So this is my rose walk. As you can see, Stripes down there in the sun. You see him? He's waiting for me to throw Scooby. He's injured his leg, so he can't go for a walk today. So I thought I'd come and get some jobs done in the garden while the sun's out, because as you can see, it's a beautiful day. Sun's just disappearing through the trees. It'll be gone then for the day. But yeah, roses. So these are my roses and my fruit trees. This is the picket fence that I was doing in last week's video. Got it finished pretty much. I've just got a few slats over there to do. I've run out, so I need to try and do some more. But yeah, it's looking rather good. So this is an apple tree. Then I've got some currants, another apple and a cherry, and another apple, and I think another pear down there somewhere. Or is it 2 pears? Could be 2 pears. Anyhow, I'm going to do the currant bush and the rose and show you what I'm doing. Yes, I know there's a lot of grass around them, but I'm not going to weed because I'm going to put mulch down. This one's called Sophie Perpetual. She is from David Austin, and they do have an offer on at the moment. 15% off, and the code's Heritage if you want one. I've got a bit of money left over from last year, so I'm wondering whether to just treat myself to a new rose. I'm just getting some of the weeds away from the rose itself. She did really well last year. Now, all I'm going to do is just loosen the soil around it a bit, like that. I'm going to get my powder on the spoon and sprinkle it around the rose. And then all I'm going to do is smoosh it in so the chickens can't find it, because it'll be a very tasty treat for the chickens. And I'm just going to do that all the way along. Be a little bit more. Cover it with soil. I stupidly just let the hens out, haven't I? Do you know, it's one of them things, once you start pulling stuff out, you have to do more, don't you? Now, the next one I'm going to do is this currant bush. This is a black currant. And again, this doesn't need any weeding. It's all right. Maybe that bit of grass there. But all I'm going to do is loosen the soil again. Just take it down a little bit more. Shit. Get my powder. Sprinkle it on. Now, because this is bigger, I'm going to use a few spoons. I could always do more. And then cover it with soil. It's a bell. What Belle's doing down here? Right, so there we go. That's that done. So I'm just going to carry on along and do the rest. And then I'm going to mulch it. I've got a load of mulch out the front that needs using. So that is that. Okay, so we've come back to do the pastry. Stripe and I have been in the garden doing the roses, the potassium on the roses, as you've seen. So we've come to do our pastry. We've got flour on the board. The pie is ready. There's the Woolton pie, nice and ready, so I'll pop that there. Now I just need to roll the pastry out. Trying to get it done quick before my husband comes home. So he's due home in about 20 minutes, maybe even less. So yeah, oh, our pastry is lovely and cold. Right, we've got some bit more flour, I think. It's a lovely day out there, it's been beautiful. Right, I'll get my rolling pin. You just want to roll it out till it fits your dish. A lot of you older viewers will already know this, if you've been around a long time. But I am getting some younger viewers coming through, so you just have to bear with me. Right, let's see how that fits. Oh, nearly. Now, I think that's going to be a bit thick, so let's put this on and see if we can save a bit for tomorrow. So I'm just going to sit the pastry on the top. I'm not going to do anything fancy, just enough pastry to be able to tuck it in. Pull that off. And you could make some fancy leaves, but I think I might make a pie with this tomorrow for my lunch. Put a bit of apple sauce in it or something for a snack tomorrow. So it won't go to waste. Right, there's my pastry, nice and thick around the edges, like a hot pot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some holes in. And that's just going to help the air to come through. And this is just going to go in the oven probably for half an hour until it's browned and the pastry is cooked on the top, because the rest of it's cooked. So you just want to use your brush, do the edges as well. You don't want them to stick. So do them first. Like that. Do you know, we've been having a nightmare here recently with traffic lights. My poor husband was stuck in traffic this morning for ages because the council's decided they need to redo the roads all of a sudden. I think they've got some money left over to spend. Rather they spent it on the hospital to keep the hospital open. Anyway, not what you're here for, is it? There we go. So that's ready now to go into my oven, probably on a moderate oven, I don't know, about 200, 250, 200 say, just to brown the top. You don't want to burn it. But yeah, that's just going to go back in my oven and I'll show you it at the end. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bit of pastry that's left that I just took off my Woolton pie, and I've got some applesauce mixture that needs using, so good combination, an apple pie. That's the applesauce in. And I'm just going to pop a bit of milk around the edge. And again, I'm just going to pop this on the top, because that's all the pastry I've got. So that's just a good way of using surplus pastry if you've got any, especially when you're making Woolton pie, because you don't know how much you're going to have. So again, I'm going to pop a hole in the top. It just lets the air out. Brush it with milk. You could serve that with a bit of custard or a bit of cream or a bit of natural yoghurt. That's just a little extra recipe for you. There we go. And that's going to go into the oven with the rest. So this is the pie, the Woolton pie that I made last night. And you can see all that lovely filling in there. I'm going to have half again for my tea tonight and have the other half for my lunch tomorrow. And I'm going to serve it with boiled potatoes and a bit of gravy and some peas. And last night I had it with roast potatoes, gravy and some peas. So I might do I've got a little bit of mixed veg in the freezer, so I might use that instead. And I've also got some carrots. So we shall see. But when it's done and it's served up on the plate, I'll let you see what it looks like. Right, okay, I think that's it for me for today. We've done quite a bit there today, haven't we? I know I've done a lot today. But yeah, I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you have, do like and subscribe. Do hit that notification bell. That'll tell you when I upload new videos. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Bye-bye.